You have been sending foreign aid to parts of the world that are richer than parts of the UK. British taxpayers have funded anti-congestion measures in Kuala Lumpur, flood prevention in Mexico City and an all-female Chinese opera in Shanghai. Kuala Lumpur is home to the second tallest building in the world, the Merdeka 118. That cost $1.5 billion to build. They have got their own money over there. Some of the stuff you've been paying for is absolute guff. You have spent £202,000 helping to foster dialogue among local craftsmen in Shenzhen province in China. That's according to research by the Institute.
Well, there you go. This is GB News Originals. I'm Emily Carver. Please do give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. And do leave a comment. Let me know what you think.
Of economic affairs. Another 200 grand has been splashed on fostering creative citizens in China through co-design and public makerspaces. What the heck does that even mean? For context, some of these places have the same GDP per capita as places like Swansea or Walsall. Do you not think that maybe taxpayers in those areas might prefer the cash themselves? China has sent a robotic craft to Mars, and yet we're still sending them foreign aid. Well, pensioners in Britain are now coming to terms with the fact that they might not be able to heat their own homes this winter. Now, apparently, in 2022, we sent £353 million to the Taliban stronghold of Afghanistan. How's that going? Lovely stuff. As far as I can tell, there are two main points behind foreign aid. Firstly, soft power. Well, again, how's that going? The Taliban hate us, and China are eyeing up an invasion of Taiwan. In fact, outgoing US President Joe Biden secretly upped America's preparedness for nuclear war after China added 90 nuclear warheads in 1 year last year to take its total arsenal of world-destroying weapons to 500. Please tell me again why they need our money. The other aspect of foreign aid is stopping people fleeing their own countries to come here and be refugees or asylum seekers. How is Calais doing? Yeah, it's not happening, is it? In the past, we've given money to an Ethiopian girl band called Yegna. We gave millions to Kenyan rainmakers. But that was in the past, OK? We have to look at what we're doing now. And I wonder whether, at a time when hard-working Brits are really struggling, and our new Labour government has just borrowed £3.1 billion more than expected to help fund public sector pay rises, is it really OK to be sending so much money abroad for highly dubious projects? Let's get our thoughts from our panel now. I am joined by the Director of Popular Conservatives, Mark Littlewood. I have also got political consultant Suzanne Evans and author and journalist Rebecca Reid. Mark, I'll start with you on this. Why on earth are taxpayers in places like Walsall and Swansea sending money to fund an all-female opera in Shanghai or wherever it was?
It's a very good question, Patrick, to which I don't have a very satisfactory answer. It is a colossal waste of money. I think, to add to your monologue at the start, there is a third potential call on foreign aid, and that's if there's a one-off humanitarian disaster.
Yes.
You know, some ghastly flooding somewhere or whatever, and we're the only people, or we're some of the only people who can get in food and running water and the rest of it. But this is a disaster. It's often been said that foreign aid budgets are a way of taking money from poor people in rich countries and giving it to rich people in poor countries. And that seems to be the evidence of some of these schemes here. One note of caution, however, although I would end this madness, I was looking into the amount of money we've given China. It has fallen. I think it was 8 million last year. I don't think we should have given them a penny, but £8 million is only enough to keep the NHS going for slightly less than 20 minutes. So let's not pretend if we killed all this off, we've balanced the budget.
I completely understand that, but £8 million
underneath
might go quite a long way in
surface,
Sure.
the true cost of
absolutely.
Britain's
In China,
global
why are we sending
ambitions.
any money to China? It's one of the wealthiest
Behind
countries on the
the
planet.
quiet
They've got 300
facade of
billion
Westminster,
in UK gilts. They've got
a
900
quiet restructuring of national
$1
priority
billion
is
in UK
reshaping
Treasury
the
bonds.
British state.
They're one of the wealthiest countries on the planet.
Welcome Welcome
absolutely
to
no need for that.
Britain
And Mark's
Underneath,
absolutely right. You know,
where
none
we
of us
look
wants to take
beneath
any
the
money away from
headline
emergency
noise
aid,
to
from
examine the structural
immunisation
mechanics
programmes,
of
things
British
like that.
power,
But the fact is that only
policy,
accounts for about
and
a fifth
public
of the foreign aid
finance.
budget. The other thing that needs to
Before
be
we examine the
remembered
numbers,
is
please consider
up to 50%
subscribing to
of this
Britain
foreign aid goes in
Underneath and
administration,
turning on
it
notifications.
goes in governance, it
Your
goes to
support
even
directly enables us to
non-governmental
produce
organisations who
independent,
are actively
deeply
working
researched analysis
against
of the
kind
issues
of
shaping our nation.
political achievements
Let us
of our
examine
own
the
country.
reality.
It's an absolute
For
nonsense. We
decades,
absolutely
the
must keep
United
emergency
Kingdom
aid
maintained
going,
a globally
supporting
recognised
some of the
posture,
poorest people in the
anchored by
world.
its
But the
commitment
fact
to
is, the other
international
thing that I think I
development.
find really
That
upsetting
posture is
that
currently
it's not made any
undergoing its
difference
most
to their quality of
significant
life.
strategic
So you look
shift
at countries
in
like
half a century.
Pakistan, Democratic
To
Republic
understand
of Congo,
the present
Ethiopia,
moment,
they get
one
a
must look
huge whack
beyond
of
partisan
the
rhetoric
foreign aid budget,
and
but
examine
it's done
the
nothing
cold
to improve their
arithmetic
capita
of the national
GDP
balance
per
sheet.
capita at all.
This is the other aspect.
In
to it. And
recent
look, I
fiscal
think,
cycles,
like many people,
the
I would be a lot
official
more
international
sympathetic to it,
development
if I could,
budget
you know,
stood
point
at
something and go,
approximately
"That's absolutely
£13
100%
billion
going in the right place."
annually.
But it feels a bit, to
On
me
paper,
anyway, and I think it feels
this funding
a lot like
represents
it's a lot to
soft
people,
power
which is
projection,
like there's this
diplomatic
arbitrary pot of
leverage,
money,
and global
that just has to
stabilisation.
go. And we end up doing
Yet a
things like
rigorous
trying to
accounting
fund
reveals a far more
AI-infused
complex picture.
pollution repellents in Kuala Lumpur.
A substantial
When
portion
do we
of these
really need
funds
to do that?
never
you know?
leaves
and I
British
find
soil.
that quite a hard sell for the British
Under
public when
international
we could
accounting
keep that money at
standards,
home.
domestic
main
expenditure
problem, I
on
think, is the
housing
comms
and
issue. So the
supporting
way that
asylum
this is
seekers
delivered
within the
makes
UK
people feel really
is
angry, and I
classified
understand why,
as
because
official
it's one of
development
those things that does
assistance.
really well on Twitter and on
Millions
Facebook and on
of
social
pounds
media, because it
allocated for
sounds
international
awful when you say
development
people in
are
this country are
absorbed
starving and we're sending millions of
internally
pounds
to
to rich people in
offset
China.
pressures
That's
on
not
local
terrible, I
public
understand that.
infrastructure.
But there is more to it. So one of the things that I didn't realise until quite recently is that the way that they calculate the money that goes there is not, you don't get a cheque, you don't get like money. It's not a wire transfer. That is, it's calculated by services. So in Afghanistan, 2022, Afghanistan was the main beneficiary, 352 million. That includes the army being there and the army coming out. It includes all those dogs that Gary Johnson made Boris put on helicopters. It's actually, that might have been charities, that might be unfair. Right. But it's a much wider amount of money, not just being given money for nothing. And the other thing is, it's a bit cruel to cherry-pick the worst of the worst. The Chinese opera, for instance, I believe, though I need to double-check this, one of the major capabilities for foreign aid that we've been encouraged to explore is female education. So across the world, girls can't go to school, they can't learn to read. That's obviously a very significant problem. We, as a country, as a good country full of good people, want women to learn to read and go to school.
What are we getting out of it for China? Why can't China do it themselves? So just put something on Mars.
I don't think anybody is suggesting this is perfectly run, and absolutely countries should have to be more accountable. We need to do a better job both on how we spend, how that money is given, but also how it's reported, because at the moment I can completely see that this sounds dreadful. In reality, it's actually us helping people across the world.
You say that, but we have had years of this stuff, you know. Was that 25 million quid towards Kenyan rainmakers to help meteorologists? Yeah. With respect, meteorologists do not need help from Kenyan rainmakers, and we've paid for that. Yeah. Why are we doing that? And there is a compare and contrast. At the moment, we've just seen a government, and this, by the way, is not Labour's fault, because this is stuff from the last year or so Labour have not been responsible for this now. However, I will caveat that by saying that one of the first things that Keir Starmer did was wanted to give £84 million to other countries to try to help stem the flow of people here. That we have no way, really, of keeping tabs on whether or not there will ever be money well spent.
Yeah, so here are two things to pick up a bit on what Suzanne and Rebecca have said. The first thing is, if you look through the historical data, there doesn't seem to be any correlation whatsoever with international aid going in and getting some of the desirable outcomes that Rebecca's speaking of.
So you don't think that Afghanistan and Ukraine were a good use of money?
Well, I'm talking about these educational
so you didn't say that. You didn't say that.
Afghanistan was a catastrophic, basically.
So you don't think that, for instance, women being able to leave Afghanistan to finish their medical degrees here was a useful or good thing?
You may be able to find individual cases.
OK, so you said there were none. It's not none.
No. These Chinese opera singers are doing well out of it. You'll be able to find individual cases. But if you're looking at the economy as a whole, no correlation at all between Western aid and economic growth. If you could show there was one, we've given a lot of money to country X year after year after year, and look at how bountiful it is 25 years later.
That's predominantly not why we do it. We do it for a humanitarian reason.
The second disastrous element, which Suzanne pointed
to, this target of
0.7% is madly out of date, completely arbitrary.
While domestic councils manage mounting budgetary deficits and public services
We
face
should be spending money on
structural
humanitarian
strain.
projects on a
Billions
case
of
by
pounds
case
navigate a
basis.
bureaucratic
isn't arbitrary,
labyrinth
it's
that
supposed to be
satisfies
arbitrary.
neither domestic
It's
demands
not being in the UN
nor
is a
foreign
fairly important
policy
objective
objectives.
Target,
When
that
funds
target
do
dates back
cross
to
borders, the
1974.
strategic
I'm not saying
rationale
it's a
becomes
perfect
even
number.
harder to
has
discern.
changed since 1974.
Historical
It is arbitrary
allocations show
and it's out of
taxpayers
date,
funding
and it's certainly-
municipal
But I don't think
infrastructure
anybody tell these
in
people
middle-income
have more
nations.
free trade with them.
Local
That's really
cultural
what it is.
initiatives
Generally,
in major
I
economic
can
powers
understand that in the
and
idea when
complex
times are
administrative
plentiful and
frameworks across
everything's going
rapidly
really
growing
well,
economies.
that we might want to have
At a
more of
time when
humanitarian
national
look
debt remains
abroad.
elevated
But right now
and
in
household
Britain, we've got
budgets are
some pensioners
constrained,
who are really
the
worried about whether or not
strategic
they're going to be able to turn
utility
the
of these
heating on
expenditures
this winter.
is increasingly
why
difficult
should we
to
really
defend.
be doing any foreign
If you
humanitarian
find
work
this
when we've
level
got
of
that going on at
structural
home?
analysis
I don't
valuable,
personally
please
feel
subscribe
that
to the
levels of
channel
poverty
now.
in some countries
Subscribing
are
takes
comparable to
only a
levels of poverty here.
second,
Of course,
but it
I do not
allows
think that a pensioner
Britain
should worry about
underneath
heating
to continue
ever
bringing
in any
you
country.
rigorous,
But to me,
unvarnished
a human is a
insights
human, and I
into
don't
the
feel I have more in
mechanics
common
of
with them
British
because I was
governance.
born on the same landmass as they do.
The
Personally.
geopolitical
But
landscape
tax,
has
that's the
shifted
thing. I get
fundamentally.
that, you know, you've got a
Major
worldview, fine,
international
and we
powers
differ on that.
are
But if it's
recalibrating their
British
strategic
taxpayers' money,
priorities
does the
toward
British
hard
government not have a
defence
responsibility to
capabilities,
put those taxpayers
energy
first?
There
security,
should be a way
and
of doing both. It
industrial
shouldn't be an
policy.
either or. And a lot of
In
a
response,
lot of the ways that we
national
do tax in
policy
this
is
country, I don't think work
pivoting.
particularly well anyway.
Official
Rebecca, you're just
development
making a
commitments
case
are
for
being
not having that fixed
systematically
0.7%
reduced
of
toward
GNI.
lower historical
and Mark, so, you know,
baselines,
they're pushing this
with
out of the door.
resources
There have been some
explicitly
circumstances where
redirected
the civil
toward
servants
defence
responsible for spending
modernisation
this budget
and
have been given
sovereign
huge
resilience.
bonuses.
This pivot exposes a fundamental tension within British statecraft. Is soft power a luxury maintained during periods of economic expansion, or is it an essential instrument of national security? The current trajectory suggests the state has made its choice, prioritising direct security capabilities over broad diplomatic outreach. Yet structural friction remains. The transition away from established spending frameworks is rarely seamless. Administrative inertia, contractual obligations, and statutory targets often delay fiscal realignments, leaving the taxpayer to fund a hybrid model that satisfies neither traditional diplomatic goals nor immediate domestic needs. Staying informed on these structural shifts is essential for understanding where national resources are ultimately directed. Take a moment to reflect on how these high-level policy decisions ripple down to affect local public services, tax policy, and national stability. The true cost of foreign assistance is not merely the sum written on a ledger, it is the opportunity cost incurred at home. Every pound deployed without clear strategic return is a pound unavailable for national infrastructure, energy independence, or domestic security. Thank you for watching Britain Underneath. Stay informed, stay critical, and subscribe to join our growing community as we continue to uncover the structural truths shaping the United Kingdom. We look forward to welcoming you back for our next analysis.